This is one piece of advice I always give to young entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs. Have some financial cushion. Don't get annoyed and quit without having another plan. I think we should, each of us, stick to our knitting, as we say in the UK. Stick to our core business. When you're good at something, you want to do more of it. It feels good when people recognize you're good, and it's a bit of a virtuous circle. Only do what only you can do. Don't do things that other people could or should be doing, or something you're not good at, and it's taking time away from your big skill.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ways to Wealth. Today I'm joined by Mindy. Mindy, why don't you give us the too long didn't read on who you are and what you kind of do on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, sure. Thanks a lot, Charlie. So I live in the UK at the moment, moved over from the US many years ago, and I do run a global business. It's a joy, it's a passion. I started it 25 years ago. This year will be 25 years. It was the first book coaching company in the UK. And now book coaching is a thing. Back then, people would be like, "Oh, I'd love to write a book, but I have no idea where to start." I mean, lots of people still say that. So that's what I set up. And 25 years later, 1,400 clients later, I'm still doing it, and I still love it. I'm happily married, empty nester, 2 adult children. One's a doctor, one's a dancer. That's my life.
Nice.
That's kind of what I'm up to. I now,
That's cool.
I travel a lot, and that's another passion.
And you can, I imagine, most of your coaching consultations and stuff online, or are you doing a lot of in person
I do
mainly?
in person when people are willing to come to me, and
Right.
yeah, it's we're filming this
That's a
in.
good way of doing it.
Oh,
That's a good way of
you
doing it.
can't see my
Yeah.
office there, but it's a really special place, which is
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's imbued with all the energy from all the people who've come and started their books with my help, and it's just a kind of
So
sacred place.
that's a real destination. So like you have quite fond experiences in that space with your clients. Like that's kind of something that's really been impactful.
Yeah, I think I've probably had about 100 clients come here to this house. I'd lived somewhere else before, and I've
Mm,
kickstarted books in, at retreats, in hotels, at workshops, lots of different places.
mm.
But when it's possible, it's really great to do in-person coaching. I'm sure you agree. And I do a lot of online when someone can't work with me face to face.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting when I do online in the office, I sit in the guest seat. Usually I'm sat to the left and we do in person sometimes. Like mostly we do in person, but now we're doing more online because we want to bring more knowledge from great people like yourself to Kiwi business owners. And I think that writing is such a beautiful thing because it helps you think. Um, and it helps you actually construct your thoughts in a more cohesive way.
Yeah.
I found that it's learn writing in a sense is learning. It's like when you teach martial arts, like if you teach jujitsu or something, which I do jujitsu,
Hmm.
and teaching jujitsu to someone is you're learning from teaching.
Yeah.
And I think writing is the same act almost of basically drilling or kind of constructing your thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's something that I quite enjoy.
Yeah, and it's great if you discover that. I mean, the reason why I still run the business the way I do is most people won't sit themselves down and they won't be able to just write. They need to get their thoughts together and they need help. So, um, my
Mm,
method is really about holding their hand. It's why it's called the Book Midwife. People people
yeah, yeah.
sometimes ask if I'm a midwife. I'm like, no, please don't call me when you're having the baby. It's a metaphor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you're holding their hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Interesting. And like, I mean, it's kind of an interesting, but kind of, I think it kind of makes sense, right, to have someone help you write, especially if like you're predominantly like working on a profession, a thought, like, something, then
Mm.
to actually be a writer is also something that is another endeavor. It's another skill that you need to
Yeah,
hone.
I mean, my ideal clients come to me before they start writing and before they plan the book. And I think my
Mm.
superpower, if you can call it that, is helping them right from the start to, put the ideas together, select the best ideas, create the best framework
Uh,
structure and outline for the book, and make those big decisions about, the book's scope, length, style, tone, what should be included, everything about the book. Because, like, the book could turn out this way, that way, the other way, so many different ways. And
mm.
it's really great to get help right from the start. Most people don't realize that help is available, or these days a lot of people are kind of overconfident. Oh yeah, I'm inspired. And then they kind of, I'm not sure about this, and they want to get help, and it's not really the way to go about it. Anyway, sorry, that's my soapbox moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that, yeah, yeah, interesting. I mean, it is getting the momentum going is always going to be difficult in the beginning, especially if you've never done it, right? And then like it's a little bit like software development, where I imagine if the momentum languishes, it may just end up never getting seen.
That's what happens a lot. But I really think the biggest issue is I don't know what to include, what to leave out. I don't know kind of, which direction to take it. I don't really know where to start. I don't know what kind of book to make it. I don't, and like all these huge decisions. And it's scary. And so they go, I'll work on it next year when I'm not so busy. And then.
Mm. If you were to, yeah, if you were to checklist, how many, I guess, moderate to big decisions there are in writing a book, is it like 50? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I just rattled off like the top 12 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I
yeah,
was looking into just the operational side of it. This is definitely not a part of writing a book, but the like obviously taking it from a document or even piece of or notebook to document to then obviously distribution. Do you also help them with that distribution side and all those checklist items once the product's finished?
when
And
there's a
how
minute,
much of
yeah. So
yeah.
if people can get to a finished manuscript, with or without my help, I do give publishing advice. I will help them make a plan. I will make introductions to publishers. I'm biased. I used to run a hybrid publisher for 16 years. So I know kind of the way entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial people need to publish. That's what's changed. I'm sure you've noticed, Charlie, and probably some of your listeners know this. The big publishers are not interested in the little guys, and as much as they want to be published so they can become a big guy, it doesn't always work. And I think things are more risk averse now than ever since the pandemic, especially. They're not taking big risks on people who are not known, or they're not celebrities, or it's kind of
Yeah.
sad, but that's how it works. So I'm a big believer in entrepreneurs, and obviously I want them to work with entrepreneurial publishers because that's how I used to run my
Mm,
um
yeah.
yeah, so I
And do
do.
you heavily recommend publishing, going through a publisher
Yes,
for
I
your
think I
first book?
think
You do.
pure self-publishing is fraught with risk. There's,
Mm,
there are so many mistakes that people make. I see them every day. People hand me books that they've self-published. I don't know why. I mean, I do I look like I have a bookshelf waiting for their book? I mean, but they think, I don't know what they think, but they've already published it. I look at it, I'm like, oh, gosh. I somebody handed me a book, and said, let me know what you think. And I took a look at it and I found 23 problems with it immediately. So I sent him an email and I said, do you really want me to let you know what I think? And I think he could gauge the tone from my email, and he never came back to me, but
Right.
it was too late. I mean, he published it and it looked cheap and nasty and homemade and self-published, and it really let him down.
Mm.
And considering most experts and leaders and entrepreneurs want to write a book to, raise their profile and to
Yep.
give them credibility, sometimes it does the opposite, sadly.
Right. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I mean, I think that there's an allure to doing more and more yourself these days because of the accessibility of
Mm.
tools and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where if you go down any of those paths, I think you have to make a bigger commitment than this is a one-off. Like if you're going to do anything, like if you're going to run your own sales and marketing, if you're going to build your own brand and you're going to do it yourself and commit to doing it yourself, it's
Mm.
kind of like you're actually committing to become world class in that. Otherwise, you're just like doing it a little bit. It's like a hobby. You
Well,
know what I mean? Like,
I do
I
know
think
it.
you can.
Yeah, I know, but I've spoken to so many people who've self-published books, and
Mm,
not one has said they that was the right thing to do. They spent hundreds of hours figuring things
it's the
out.
wasted time.
It's not, I think we should, each of us, stick to our knitting, as we say in the UK, stick to our core
Mm,
business and leave the rest to the professionals. I mean, I work with, I don't know, half a dozen, maybe more professionals in different areas, things that I'm not good at, because I want to keep all
mm,
my time for the things that I'm great at. That's a piece of
yeah.
advice I have for anyone listening to us. I'm sure they've heard it before, but seriously, the way the phrase goes, I cannot remember who said it first. Only do what only you can do.
Mm,
Don't do things that
mm.
other people could or should be doing, or something you're not good at, and it's taking time away from your big skill.
Yeah, for sure. Did you learn some of that through the work and the stuff you've done through Tony Robbins?
Oh, well, now that you ask, I learned a lot from Tony. I, participated in all of the trainings. I became a senior leader. I'm, blessed to have supported, I think, 32 events. And I learned a lot from, not just from him, but from the people who came through, the training, all the trainers, other leaders.
Yep. Yep.
I saw people really shine, and I don't know, when you're good at something, you want to do more of it. It feels good when people recognize you're
Mm,
good, and it's a bit of a virtuous circle. So I did
mm.
meet people who were great at, the different areas of the wheel of life, health, wealth, relationships, work, money, spirituality, sport, th- everybody had their thing. And
Did you
I
ever make it to Namali?
No, I no, sadly, I did Life Mastery in Puerto Rico, and
Oh,
then I
cool.
supported Life Mastery in Scotland, which is very different from Namali.
Yeah, that would be different from Namali.
It was
My
sunny, it
business
was
partner
nice.
went there. Yeah, my business partner went there last year.
Oh, right. Oh, I wish I had, but it
Yeah.
was far. Funny enough, I did do Wealth Mastery once in, no, not Wealth. I did Day with Destiny in near Brisbane, somewhere, some
Oh,
hotels.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Gold Coast.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, you kind of, when I was researching you, it was kind of mentioning that you felt like you fell into entrepreneurship. So, what was the whole dynamic between landing in I guess, what was the catalyst perhaps for what sent you to the UK? And then what was that decade like that led you to building or starting the business?
Oh, wow. You've really hit on something that I love talking about, Charlie. There's the 20 something Mindy who thought, things are not going the way I want in the US. I'm not getting this, job that was promised. And I was kind of at a crossroads. And a boyfriend at the time said, I'm moving to the UK. Why don't you come? I was like, I hadn't even thought of it. Then I thought, why not? So it wasn't a real plan. I came over here very quickly realized that I couldn't set up a business. It was recession time. It was
Yeah, right.
tricky. The boyfriend left. And I thought, well, I'm going to stay. And so I did a number of jobs while I was here, contract jobs. And then I went to a Tai Chi class and met the man who would become my husband.
Nice.
So then I decided, actually, I will stay. And I just
Yeah.
kept staying. But what happened to become an accidental entrepreneur was that I had three redundancies in a row, three layoffs within about
Right.
5 or 6 years. I mean, it boom, boom, boom. Each time,
Right.
the company got into trouble or got taken over, or all these things were happening, and I left with a package, not a huge amount, but they
Mm,
added up. And the third one, I just thought, oh, I had two little kids by this time, and I thought, I don't think I do want to go and get another job and travel and be beholden to a boss. And, it just, I thought I've got
yeah.
a bit of a cushion financial. I could set up on my
Right.
own. So this is one piece of advice I always give to young entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs. Have some financial cushion. Don't,
Yeah.
get annoyed and quit without having another plan
Absolutely.
and no money. I mean, like that is just dumb.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We have a principle in our company. One of our principles is that live to trade another day.
Uh-huh.
And eccuity is ultimately building a modern day guild,
Hmm.
ultimately, and working with business owners. And yeah, I think that like being able to play the game and continue to go is so incredibly critical
Yeah.
to survival.
Yeah.
And we should treat our personal finances and personal endeavors like a business
Hmm.
and have a plan so that you can be in control. And yeah, everything goes wrong. I'm sure that when you started, you've got tons of stories about where you had expected one thing and then something else happened. But just having
Hmm.
taken the process to have thought about it means that
Yeah.
you're more well prepared.
Yeah. And the thing I find, and with my clients as well, because so many of my clients writing books have been through stuff, and they have told me stories about having a financial challenge, which has led to another challenge. Because let's face it, if you can't pay your bills, it creates all sorts of other angst and,
Yes.
emotional and,
Health issues.
yeah, it can affect physical health, mental health. And, we need to be able to live, like you say, pay our bills, know that we have that, Maslow's first few needs in the hierarchy of needs. Then we can build on that. But, so I think when I was younger, I met a lot of people as well who'd be like, oh, I hate my boss, I'm going to quit. It's like, just have a plan, have, a bit of a slush fund, so that you can have time, because it does take time.
Absolutely.
It took me 3 years initially to build the business, partly because I was a little bit comfortable having that money.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I was
That
like,
happens as
oh,
well. That's the duality, right? That's the
yeah.
duality.
Oh gosh, people would say, "Do you want to have a coffee? Do you want to have lunch?" I'd be like, "Sure, freedom." I can picture myself in those days, and I was like, "Wow, I don't have to set an alarm. I don't have a boss." So I did not work too hard until the money started running out. I was like,
Right.
"Oh, I better get serious."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the human nature, right? To a degree. But
yeah,
also you were probably finding yourself, you were finding how you worked best and most optimally in that transition phase, right? So,
yeah.
and that's why having that slash fund initially is great because you were also kind of, moving on from that career as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I did have some emotions going on because, at least one of the redundancies really, really hurt. Actually, two of them really hurt. One, they laid me off when I was pregnant. That was not
Mm.
nice. And I all sorts of stuff, hormones and also reality. It's like, well, I
Yeah,
can't go
right.
get another job now. And then the other one stopped me going to a competitor. It's like, well, you've laid me off. Now you're going to tell me
Oh
where I
wow,
can't
yeah,
work. So I think
that's annoying.
being an entrepreneur is great because we haven't got any of that stuff. I mean, you have clients and shareholders and other people who are putting pressures on you, but you haven't got that feeling like you can't control anything. You can control a lot, and like the buck stops with you as well. So this is, you're saying about
Yes,
like both
yes,
scenarios, right? You have to be
yeah, yeah,
responsible.
yeah, for sure. Yesterday, I had someone on the podcast that had done it the other way around, where he had six businesses and he'd, sold one recently, but basically hired a manager and went and worked for a company just to experience it because they'd never done that.
Hmm.
So he did the reverse
Wow.
stream, and it seems interesting. And inevitably, he'll have another crack at something.
Oh,
I think in the next 5 years would be my estimation. So it is
yeah.
what it is. So what? How did you go about finding clients in the beginning? And like
Yeah.
what was that like when you just starting to establish yourself?
Well, luckily, I like chatting. It's my favorite thing to do. So that is my marketing strategy. Chat.
Yeah. So
Not
just having
chat
a chat.
GPT, mind you, although that's kind of fun, if there's no one else to talk to and, you could go on there. But no, I used to go to networking events. I used to do one-to-ones. I still do all of this, but a bit less now, a bit more intentional and strategic. But I
Yeah.
have a huge network. I'm connected to 100,000 people because I just built it up. I just collected people like people collect, I don't know, coins or stamps. Or
Oh,
I
really?
yeah, I just always find people fascinating, and I met people everywhere I went. I went to a lot of events. I stayed connected to them. So word of mouth grew. That's still kind of my favorite way, and I think it's one of the most powerful ways to build your business because let's face it, you put something online, it can be the slickest ad you've ever seen, but people aren't sure, is it real? Is it AI? Is it, are you any good? But if they meet you in person, they can make their minds up for themselves.
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely. I think. Oh well, it's definitely a shift now, and a kind of. I guess with so much noise, people are now going to actually almost choose subconsciously now with things. So, my belief is around, AI and technology is obviously it's massively improved our productivity as a business, and the
Hmm.
cost for us to deliver our services has gone down dramatically because we were born in the era of the tools. So we had no legacy technical debt. We were just in a great place at a great time to build. And but as AI is kind of continuing to like progress, our our ability to deliver technology is much easier, for example.
Yeah.
However, I'm of the belief now that people are now buying principles and frameworks more than features. So getting a book out there and having it in long form, a cohesive piece of work about how you think and
Yep.
what you're about, what you believe in, is has never been more important.
Oh, I need that as a quote. Exactly what you just said. Just I'll grab it from the transcript. I'm
Yeah,
gonna put
you
that
can
on my
just take it.
website.
I'll send you all the
Charlie
I'll
Meaden
send you all
said,
the
yeah.
info anyway.
No, I mean, like, that's really cool. The way you just put that encapsulates what I think about books and why an expert needs an expertise book. Because, people will get to know you. If you write a book of the right length, they're spending 4 hours with you in your thinking, the reader. They're,
Right.
they're getting to know you. They're making decisions. They're getting comfortable. So if or when you have the kind of discovery call or you talking to them, talking to a prospect, they're kind of warm. They're pre-sold. They've already spent 4 hours with you. You know.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of the great investment professionals have written books, and often those books were written actually before they'd actually broken through and compounded into very wealthy. If you look at many of, much of Buffett's older work was
Mm,
really him demonstrating maybe how more people are using also podcasts, demonstrating how he was thinking about the world in real time, but also most importantly in long form.
yeah.
Because and a bugbear of mine is that we are so living by analogy now, not living by like knowing. We're like
Mm,
we hear something very short and very snappy with a
yeah.
hook that sounds right, but we don't know it enough to have any conviction.
Well, that is very similar to something that I wrote in 24 Karat Bold, a book that came out 18 years ago. And
Mm.
I had a section in there called the channel hopping culture. I'm not even sure if you know what channel hopping is, a
Yep.
TV with a
Well, from
remote.
channel to channel on the
Well,
TV.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we used to have to do that before the internet. Now
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like you just open a new tab, do a new search, whatever. It's the same kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Scroll.
Yeah, scrolling, yeah. But channel hopping.
Scrolling's the worst.
But people, the attention span was already shrinking. And I think,
It was shrinking, but man, I even think since 2017, like it's dramatic even in the last 9 years. I think it's really profound.
yeah. And so if somebody spends 4 hours reading your book, they've made that investment of time.
Mm,
And, yeah, it's a different kind of relationship rather than they saw a headline. So you're absolutely right. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, cool. So, like, I guess now you've kind of like you said you're more intentional. You get you've got the benefit of having done the work. It's like the war. I love the War of Art, right? And the War of Art is a great book, and it talks about
Yeah.
how the professional does the work. The
Yeah.
professional goes and every day they write for 90 minutes and they go in no matter how they feel. You're at the stage now where you're the professional, right?
Hmm.
And now you're being more intentional about what you're doing. So, what does success look like for you in the next 5 years? What are you excited about? What's kind of, what's on the horizon?
Well, it's really funny because a lot of people talk about building and scale and scaling the business, whereas I've scaled back because I have so much experience, because I've honed the methodology, because I have all these 1,400 success stories. I don't feel the need to hustle. And also, I don't want to. And also, I'm in a different stage of life after all these years. But I do work exclusively with exclusive private clients. And that's very rewarding and it's lovely. So, whereas most people would say, oh, okay, you got to do one to many and you got to build and build your empire and 6 figures,
Right.
7 figures, 8 figures. I'm the Lexus lady. I don't know if you have Lexus. Well, you know what the car is.
I know what Alexa says,
I
yeah.
finally got a Lexus on my 50th birthday. I had tried 3 times and I didn't have the money and I finally got it. And so I call myself a Lexus lady. And what that means is, that's luxury. That's, yes, it costs. The investment is very large.
Mm,
It's a premium product and so is my service. So I really love that. I work with a maximum of 10 private clients per year. And
right.
that suits me because
Yeah.
I get to go deep where it's confidential, it's one to one. I kind of miss running the groups, my retreats and all my, I may do
Right.
some retreats, but I may not. Anyway, so that's what I see myself continuing to do. Work with my handful of clients every year, those who are lucky enough to work with me, and continue to travel. I have more interests. I've been learning Japanese, and so
Oh,
we will go
cool.
back to Japan. I will spend more time there, and Japan is a really cool hopping off place on the way to New Zealand. So that's the that's what we
True.
did this year. Well, last
Yeah,
year.
nice.
Yeah, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Last time we went back to the UK, we went to via China, and on the way back, we went
Uh-huh.
basically New Zealand, China, the UK, France, UK, China, left the airport, went to the Great Wall with the kids,
Wow.
and then it was such a great experience. And then came back to New Zealand, so good
Yeah, I
fun.
mean it's pretty convenient that we can't fly direct, so you have to kind of choose a stopover, and I say make the most of it. You haven't
May as
asked
well.
you haven't asked me for travel advice, but I have lots of that as well. I don't want to run a travel business, but I have plenty of tips for people.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
from your own travels.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
have to count
interesting.
up the number of countries I've visited. I think it's like 60 or something. Yeah,
Gosh, that's a
love
lot.
travel. Yeah.
That is a lot. Um, so in it's interesting. I don't. You may not have heard of them, but there's a guy called Howard Marks, and he's a really amazing bond investor, and he writes memos. He's written a book as well,
Uh-huh.
something about a book about market cycles. Again, investment professional, built out his. He's like you say, he gets followers and clients from those books for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But he talks about how, yeah, he basically was saying, "Oh well, look, you young people trying to write memos, you shouldn't." Basically, which I thought was quite interesting, right? But I think what he meant was is that you shouldn't expect anyone to read your memos
Okay.
for like 15 years. Because he said that he wrote memos for 15 years, and then it wasn't until 2000
Yeah.
when actually he got a single response from his memos. Now, obviously, it was a different time. It
Yeah.
wasn't social media, right? So he
Mm.
was probably right going into a blog. It was probably
Yes.
a blog and an email, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I
Yeah.
just find that interesting. So I was just thinking, like, yeah, what do you think? I mean, do you think anyone can write a book? You know what I mean? Like, I assume that you
Hmm.
only have so much, but one only has so much bandwidth to probably like. It's a bit. I'm assuming it's a bit of a timing and headspace thing. So can you tell me a bit about like if someone was intrigued by the idea? Like you say about self-publishing, you kind of just rush it and you kind of do it wrong and you execute wrong, and then it kind of puts you off, and then nothing gets into the world.
Okay, well, first of all, anybody who's listening to us should just forget publishing. Let's just park that because the more
Yeah,
important
it's a
thing
different thing.
is getting the ideas out of your head, getting them into a cohesive framework, getting the scope right, making sure the book's the right length, style, tone, format, the use of stories, every single thing, and getting a manuscript finished. So getting it through the drafts, getting a manuscript together that you're happy with. That is the goal. Publishing's the easy bit. I promise you, there's 88,000 publishers in the UK alone.
That's right. That's right.
Most important things,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't worry about publishing because there are many ways to publish. There are apparently 88,000 publishers in the Western world alone. So, we're really not talking publishing. My passion is helping somebody who deserves to have a thought leading book to get the best possible book out of their head and into the best possible format so that they can attract, the clients that they deserve. Most people, if they don't get help with their book, they might end up with something that's good, but they
Mm.
don't know, they're not sure about it. There's so many different factors. So, what drives me is helping somebody end up with the best possible book that has its best possible chance in the market and, not to leave it to chance.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod, Mindy. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great convo, and I feel like I've learned a lot. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love talking about my passions and I love helping entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurs and people who want to kind of have all these lovely things, the freedom and the excitement and, good luck to everybody listening to us.